It took a while, and this person noticed. They noticed over time, in the long pauses, in the ignored signals, in the invitations that never came. They waited. They gave you space. They stayed silent when they could have given up. They held on to hope when they should have turned their back. But a breaking point was reached, that point that can't be undone. This person understood that waiting any longer was like ceasing to exist inside. There wasn't a fight, no breakup, just sudden clarity. If they want to live what they feel, they're going to have to act. And they will. Not to impress, not to provoke, but because it can no longer be pretended that they don't feel. This person will take the lead. They will speak up. They will show themselves. They will try. Even without guarantees, even with fear, even knowing that you might not react at all, because some things, if kept inside, become toxic, and what pulses within them no longer wants to be trapped. You had time. This person had time too, but they used it to realize, and now they will live with or without a response. This person isn't demanding anything from you. They don't expect anything. They never pushed you into anything, but they were there in the little details, in the intentional silences, in the long pauses that needed one of your words, in the messages unsent but thought of, in the spaces they created just to see if you noticed. You never said no, but you also never said yes. Always in between, always on the fence, always postponing, shrugging it off, making it seem like life was just too hectic, too confusing, too complicated. But you know that this person wasn't expecting perfection. They were expecting movement, a gesture, a touch of truth, a look that said, "I'm here for real." And that never came. You gave partial presence, measured attention, care that only came after a reminder and never fully. But this person felt it. They felt what you avoided saying. They even felt it when you turned away to avoid confronting what was too obvious to pretend any longer. You confused her silence with passivity, but what she was doing was observing, and she started to notice. Noticing everything. Every time you said, "We'll talk later," and never did. Every time you posted something smiling, while she cried in a corner you didn't even see. Every time you disappeared and returned as if nothing had happened. This person didn't want to lose you, but she wanted to find herself. And she realized she was distancing herself from who she was just to stay close to you. Have you ever felt this way? Seeing someone falling apart into small pieces just to keep fitting into your life. Feeling that the other person is trying so hard, while you just watch without the courage to fully engage? Then you understand. This person was breaking little by little. But now she has reached the end of that silent wait. And it's not an end with screams or theatrical goodbyes. It's an internal end, a clean cut but calm, she realized. Just like that. She realized that while you were wondering if it was worth it, she was already there, worth it. She realized that the love she holds doesn't deserve to be ignored. She realized that what she feels is too precious to remain stagnant. Now she will take action, not out of anger, not to hurt you, not to create a scene. She will take action because life is calling, and she understood that waiting for you is the same as rejecting the call of her own soul. And maybe one day you'll realize too. Maybe one day you'll wake up and miss that message that always came, that unexpected care, that glance that saw you even when you were hiding. But it will be too late. Not because she's gone, but because she finally arrived where she needed to be, within herself. This person understood that the one who needs to choose herself first is her, that no one will live for her. And that love, as beautiful as it is, needs two pulses, two steps, two hearts beating with the same intention. You gave silence. She gave everything. Now it's going to change. She will give silence. And to keep for herself what you turned down. If this affected you, it's because you've lived both sides. You've been the one who waited too long. You've been the one who took too long. That person won't return to where she felt small. Now she's going where she feels whole. And that place is no longer by your side. She wants a love that arrives, no excuses, that stays, no strings attached, that gives itself completely without half measures. You didn't offer that, and she noticed. Do you know what's even more cruel? It's that deep down, you knew she deserved more. You knew her time was precious. You knew you were testing the limits of someone who has given you everything. And still, you continued. Now this person will keep moving forward too, but without you. Not because she doesn't love you, but because if loving herself means what you offered, she prefers solitude. Because solitude at least doesn't lie. Solitude at least doesn't postpone. Solitude at least doesn't make promises with empty gestures. Do you understand what I'm saying? She will take action. She will change her course. She will put herself where she should never have left, at the center of her own life, and you, Han, will watch. You will remember. You will try to understand where you went wrong. But deep down you already know. You know exactly the moment you should have done something and didn't. The moment she looked into your eyes and you looked away. The moment she asked you, "Are you here?" and you responded with evasions. You can deny it now. You can rationalize. You can say there was just too much going on. But that person noticed, not by what you said, but by what you didn't say. Not by what you did, but by what you failed to do. She got tired. Tired of feeding something alone that should be for both. Tired of justifying your absence to herself. Tired of building castles on a foundation you didn't help support. And when that person takes action, she doesn't come back. Because when she chooses to leave, she has already left inside a long time ago. That person never demanded promises from you. Never asked for guarantees. She never wanted you to solve her entire life just to get closer. She just wanted presence, authenticity, truth. But you were absent even when you were close, and now it's no use pretending it was unintentional. Because this person realized that your "I'm here" was never whole. That your "let me know if you need anything" always came too late. That your "I missed you" only happened after she disappeared. This person grew tired of being in the almost important, almost a priority, almost a choice, almost love. And now she's stepping out of the scene, without fanfare, without announcements, without notifying you, because she realized that waiting for your move is wasting time with someone who only acts when they fear losing. And honestly, she no longer wants to be anyone's loss. She wants to be a choice. She wants to be mutual urgency. She wants to be the kind of love that doesn't need to beg to exist. You don't know the strength that arises in someone who is ignored for too long. You have no idea of the silent decision that forms after so many no's disguised as maybe. This person is going to reinvent herself, will move on, will flourish in another soil. Because this one has already dried up, and you will feel it. You will notice in the little things, in the absence of the message that always arrived, in the disappearance of the care you thought would last forever, in the lack of presence that felt whole even when you didn't deserve it. You'll notice the void she left, because it was a void filled only by her, and no one else will fill it the same way. You might even try to replace her. But replacement doesn't exist where there was real giving. This person was not just another one. She was the one who held your mess in silence, who saw your pain without you saying a word, who stayed even when everyone else would have left. And now, she is leaving, going to a place where she no longer has to shrink herself, where she doesn't have to beg for reciprocity anymore, where her feelings don't need to be translated all the time. She won't block you. She won't erase you. She won't try to prove anything. She's simply going to stop being there. And that will slowly eat at you, because her absence isn't loud and it's profound. It's the kind of absence that shows up in the silences of the day, in the places only she could fill, in the moments when no one else understands what you weren't brave enough to admit. You lost something rare, something that would have been willing to stay if you had stayed too, but you preferred to put it off, and now there's no more later. There's only the now. And in the now, she's no longer there. This person isn't punishing you, she's freeing herself. And what you're going to experience from here on out isn't punishment. It's just the consequence of your absence. The pain that comes afterward isn't because she's gone, it's because you only wanted to stay after you lost her. Do you feel that? Do you now see what you pretended not to see before? This person didn't need you to be perfect. She just needed you to be there. But you chose fear, hesitation, the safe zone, and she chose to live, even with a heavy heart, even not knowing what she would find, even loving you, because loving shouldn't be an excuse to disappear. And that's what she was doing, disappearing to keep you. Now, she will stay whole even without you, and that is the beginning of everything she deserved from the start. This person isn't the past. She's a mirror. She's the truth. She's what you chose to ignore. But it's not over yet, because now it's you who will start to realize, not all at once, but little by little, in the corners of the day, in the moments when everything goes quiet, you will remember how this person knew what hurt you, even without you saying a word, how she waited with her eyes when you pretended not to see, How she was part of your world without asking for anything in return, just your presence, and you will miss her. Not the kind of presence you can see, but the kind you can feel, the type that filled what no one else could reach, the kind that understood your silence yet still stayed. But now she no longer stays, because she realized you only moved when you felt she could walk away, and even so, she moved little, late, almost nothing. Now she doesn't give you a heads up when she leaves, she just goes. And you'll see the space she occupied, empty. You'll try to call out to her, but it will be too late. Not because she sought revenge, but because she healed. And those who heal don't return to the place where they suffered. This person saw in you something that you couldn't even see. She believed, she hoped, she gave it time, and you confused that with excess, with exaggeration, with someone who would never have the courage to leave. But she did, because nobody can love alone forever. Do you realize that now? Can you sense the exact moment when everything changed? It was when she stopped asking if you were okay. It was when she stopped insisting on seeing you. It was when she started to smile, alone. And even though it still hurt inside, she was already on her way out, internally, slowly, in a way that had no turning back. This person wanted to be your home, but you treated her like a guest. You welcomed her when you wanted. You closed the door when you didn't know how to handle things. And now, this person is her own home. You never knew how much she fought to stay there, how much she swallowed her feelings to avoid suffocating you, how much she stayed silent, afraid of being too much. But now she's no longer afraid, because her fear was losing you. Today, the fear is losing herself again while trying to reach you. She isn't going to run anymore. She isn't going to insist. She isn't going to send another message. She's going to love someone who doesn't need to be convinced to stay. Do you know what that is? It's when someone understands that it's not enough to feel, they have to be felt too. She felt everything. You felt the minimum. Now she's going to live it all, and you are going to feel the emptiness, but that emptiness isn't hers. It's yours. She just left a space that you never fully occupied. You had in your hands one of the rare people who didn't want to shape you, didn't want to turn you into something prettier, stronger, more right. This person just wanted to live you, just as you are, with your mistakes, with your silences, with your escapes. She didn't want a manual. She wanted your presence, your choice, your truth, but you postponed. And while you postponed, she felt. While you disappeared, she surrendered. While you doubted, she believed. This person did everything she could without ever demanding anything from you. And now that she's no longer here, now that she doesn't ask, doesn't insist, doesn't show up, you feel it. And you feel it deeply, because what she gave, no one else gives. It wasn't just companionship, it was real presence. It was care that came without you asking. It was love that remained even when everything said it was time to go. But she left, not with screams, not with drama. She left with the strength of someone who understood that staying was diminishing herself. And now you realize, late but you realize in the silence, in the absence of messages, in the days when nothing fills the space, in the places where only she fit. Life doesn't take away suddenly. It reveals, slowly, what you have lost. And when you see, so there's no way to go back, this person was not just anyone. She was the one who saw you even when you hid, the one who loved even the parts you pretended not to have, the one who stayed when no one else could handle your mess. And you let her slip away. You let her go while you still had time, while she said, "It's all right," with a soft voice, while she waited for you even when she was tired, while she smiled on the outside and bled on the inside. Now she no longer waits, and she won't come back, because when a person realizes that loving you is the same as abandoning herself, she chooses to survive. You feel that now, don't you? The emptiness, the absence, the void that screams when everything else goes silent. She didn't leave because she stopped loving. She left because she started loving herself. And you? Will you keep postponing until you lose again? If this touched you, comment below. I needed to hear this. If you've lived something like this, share it in the comments. This space is yours too. Share with someone who needs this urgent truth. Maybe there's still time, maybe not. Write in the comments what this message stirred in you, even if it's just a single sentence, even if it's just "that hurt." But write it down. Subscribe to the channel, because this conversation doesn't end here. In the next video, we'll dive into topics that no one else wants to touch, And you need to be there. Leave a like if this resonated with you. That's how I know, and the world knows, that this truth is also yours. And remember, this person is gone, but the lesson is still alive, and you have only two choices from here. Repeat everything or reflect. See you in the next video. I'll be waiting for you there.